Hello students of theology, hello students of textual criticism. My name is Marcelo Freitas. I am from Brazil, so forgive my English, forgive my accent, and forgive also my grammar. But I am here to bring you good news. The precise wording of the New Testament text was preserved. This is a series of videos that I want to explain the work of Dr. Wilbur Pickering. I want to explain with simplicity and being didactic why Family 35 has the flow of transmission, is the flow of transmission with the precise wording of the New Testament text. In this video, I want to answer two questions. The first question is, what is textual criticism? And the second question is, what difference does it make? In the first question, what is textual criticism? You may have heard about science of textual criticism, or maybe only textual criticism, but you may wonder, what does a critic do? He criticizes. But what is a New Testament critic is criticizing? The New Testament text was written in Greek. And the first documents, those documents that were written by the author themselves, it is called the orthographs. The orthographs of the New Testament, they don't exist anymore. They were used, they suffer action of time. As the times moves on, they were destroyed. You know, documents that are used, they worn out and they are destroyed. So, as we don't have access to the original documents anymore, we only have access to the copies of the copies of the copies of the copies, and the majority of those copies, they are not equal between themselves. The texts are not the same. So the precise text of the original Testament is considered to be lost. Lost in a sense that no one knows for sure what was written on the original document. So the work of the textual critic is to recover that text. So what we have in our hands today correspond as plenty as it is possible to what was written on those original documents. In other words, the critic of the text, he's gonna try, based on the evidence, to rebuild, to reconstruct the text of the New Testament, so we can have reasonable conclusions that what we have today in our hands is as close as it is possible to what was written on the original document. Notice that the critic is defining the text, and when someone is defining the text, that puts that person, the critic of the text, above the text. The person who is defining is above the text. Notice also that there is an important presupposition behind textual criticism. There is only textual criticism in a text, in a wording, that is considered to be lost, that is deemed to be lost. For this reason, no one does textual criticism in Yesterday newspaper or Last Week magazine. No one will do textual criticism, not even in the 1611 King James Version. Why not? Because we have access to those documents. We have a perfect copy of them. We know what was written on those documents. We only do textual criticism in a text that is considered to be lost, and we want to know what was written on those documents. As Dr. Pickering defends the preservation of the New Testament text, he doesn't consider himself a critic of the text. He considers himself a student of the text. For this reason, Dr. Pickering is not defining the text. Dr. Pickering is identifying the text. It means that the text is under Dr. Pickering. He is identifying the text. If you think this is a semantic distinction, notice that there are important presuppositions behind every doctrine, and those presuppositions are very important. So Dr. Pickering says that everyone must expressly say their presupposition. Everyone must know the presupposition of everyone. And presupposition is different from methodology. But this is a subject for another video. In this video, you that already know a little of textual criticism probably have realized that the critic or the eclectical doctrine That doctrine that dominates these theological seminaries around the world, that critical or eclectical doctrine, they don't give a satisfactory answer about the preservation of the text. They have defined their text, but they have changed their text hundreds and hundreds of times. In other words, the critic and the eclectical doctrine, they have defined their printed text, and once they define, they redefine their text hundreds and hundreds of times. And when you're gonna look at their methodology to see the reasons why they changed the text, why they redefine the text, you're gonna see that they don't have a satisfactory answer for the preservation. And the majority of the students in the theological seminaries, they have never heard about family 35. A seed of this problem can be seen when we try to answer the second question. That is, textual criticism. What difference does it make? What difference does textual criticism make? What Bible doctrine does it affect? No Bible doctrine is seriously affected. No Bible doctrine is seriously affected. Some people will say that some Bible's doctrine is weakened. They are not as strong as they were. But that is a little subjective. Other people will disagree. Will think, no, that doctrine is still strong. So we're gonna leave this subject for another video. And I also want to advise you, students of textual criticism, not to do textual criticism while you're in your devotion, trying to seek God, trying to do your prayers. Do textual criticism, leave textual criticism for another moment. For sure, the oldest manuscripts, those manuscripts from Egypt, those Alexandria manuscripts, they have lots of contradictions and errors of fact in their text. And as the critic and the eclectical text, as they use those manuscripts from Egypt to produce their printed text, so they bring to their text those contradictions and those errors of fact. But you have to be a student of the text to compare those passages, to see those contradictions, and for that to be a problem. The majority of the Christians, they don't see the contradiction, or that is not a problem for them. So if no Bible doctrine is seriously affected, if I don't have to worry about textual criticism while I'm trying to seek God, so if the contradictions, the majority of the Christians, they don't observe that exists, so what difference does textual criticism make? It is because the Bibles, those Bibles that use the critic or the eclectical Greek text to make their translations, they insert footnotes in their Bibles, and some of the Bibles put brackets on their text. And when you see the footnotes, you're gonna see that they raise questions about the text. They explain in the footnotes the problems of the variant. In other words, they show that there is a problem, but they don't give a solution for the problem. And they use those brackets on the Bible, meaning that they are not sure if that text was in the original text, but they don't give a solution for the problem. We have some few examples to show you about it. So for instance, we have the New International Version that use the critic or the eclectical text, as they have the same text, to produce their translation. In Mark 13:33, they put in the footnote, some manuscripts alert and pray. In other words, some manuscripts put alert and pray on the text, but they don't explain what the some means, what they mean by some. And by some, they mean 99.4% of the manuscripts. So 99.4% of the manuscripts presents alert and pray. I wonder, you that is watching this video, would you use the word some to refer to something that is 99.4% of anything? And in Matthew 18:11, the New International Version put the verse 11 in the footnotes, but 98.5% of the manuscripts have this verse. Would you put this verse in the footnotes when 98.5% of the manuscripts have it? The pericope of the woman that was caught in adultery, that goes through John 7:53 through 8:11, they put between brackets It means that they are not sure if that passage was in the original text. The New American Standard Bible, in Matthew 18:11, they put this verse between brackets. And as we explained, 98.5% of the manuscripts have it. So they have doubts, as the verse is between brackets, if it was in the original, because 1.5% of the manuscripts have it. And the New Living Translation, in Matthew 18:11, it is in the footnotes, and they said some manuscripts add this verse, and they don't clarify that by some they mean 98.5% of the manuscripts. And in Mark 13:33, they put some manuscripts and pray, and they also don't tell you that by some they mean 99.4% of the manuscripts. So as you can see, those Bibles, they insert those footnotes and those brackets, and any reader who is studying their Bible or just reading the Bible, they're gonna see those footnotes, they're gonna see those brackets, and so they're gonna realize that there is a variant problem and with no solution. So in other words, they are gonna see that the editors of the text, they are not sure about what text was in the original, they are not sure what text was in the autograph. After all, what text was inspired by God? So what Bible doctrine is affected? The mother of all doctrine is seriously affected. And what is the mother of all doctrine? The inspiration of the Bible is seriously affected. What I mean is, a student of the text or a reader, when he gets a Bible that was translated by those critic or those eclectical texts, they are going to see for granted those footnotes, and they're going to see that there is a problem with the variant but with no solution, and they're going to wonder, was this text in the original text? Was this text on the autograph? Was this text on the original doc? After all, was this text inspired by God? After all, because you have those footnotes, those brackets with no answer, with no explanation. So was those texts inspired by God? So the inspiration of the Bible is the main problem of textual criticism. And the theological liberalism, they are going to raise a second question. They're going to say, if God was going to inspire a word, was not gonna the same God going also to preserve this word? And I wonder you, God inspiring a word, he was not gonna be preoccupied also in preserve the same word? Some teachers that defends the critic or the eclectical text and defends also the preservation of the text, they are not gonna have satisfactory answer to give to their students. So when a student come and ask them about the preservation of the text, and as they defend the critic or the eclectical text, they probably are gonna say, no, but the main message was preserved. No, the essence was preserved. We don't have problems with any doctrines with the text that we have. So the main message was preserved. The essence of the Bible was preserved. We don't have any problems with it. But I wonder you, God inspiring every word, was not gonna him also preserve every word? For sure, the Bible is hypostatic. What I mean is, the Bible, in our case the New Testament, is 100% human. We have human traits on it. We have human features on it. We can see the style of the author. We can see human features on the New Testament text. So the Bible is 100% human. But the New Testament, it is also 100% inspired by God. It is also 100% Word of God. So the Bible was going to be 200%. And as we stand for the preservation of the text, we stand that the same God that inspired the Word, the same God also preserved His Word. The same God that inspired every single word of the Bible, He also preserved every single word of the Bible. And as we stand for the preservation of the Bible, you may wonder, what is your text? Dr. Pickering identified in Family 35 the precise wording of the New Testament text. All Dr. Pickering's work are 100% free. You can just go to his site www.walkjustheshewalked.com or go in Dr. Pickering's site www.prunch.org. When Dr. Pickering began his study, he wrote a book, The Identity of the New Testament Text. Right now it's in the number 4th. After he identified Family 35, he also wrote a new book. It is called God Has Preserved His Text. All work of Dr. Pickering is 100% free, so you can just download those things in his site. But if you think I'm being here simple and didactic, I have good news for you. Me and Dr. Pickering, we are writing together a new book. We are trying to make it more simple for the new generation. So Dr. Pickering is my friend. We are together writing this book. So any doubts, any questions that you may raise, we are here. We want to talk about the preservation of the text, so you can use this channel to talk to us. Thank you very much.